Hello everyone, Charles Watts here. Welcome back to Inside Arsenal. It is Saturday, it is the weekend. I hope you're having a good one wherever you're watching or listening to this around the world. Thank you as always for joining me. I really do appreciate it. We do have plenty to get stuck into today. Arsenal made a signing, or they announced a signing last night. Noni Madueke, as we spoke about in yesterday's show, was finally confirmed as an Arsenal player. He will wear number 20, the new signing from Chelsea. So look at what he's had to say about his move. Look what Mikel Arteta's had to say about the move. Look what you have had to say about the move. So we've got plenty to get stuck into when it comes to Noni Madueke. We're going to talk about Christian Mosquera as well, who hasn't been announced yet, but Arsenal have managed to unveil a picture of him doing his media duties at the club ahead of his announcement. Bit of a mistake, bit of a oops from Arsenal. So we have seen a picture of Christian Mosquera at Arsenal in Arsenal training gear doing his interview that will eventually go out when his signing is announced. Now the squad do fly out to Asia today. I understand we are going to get a squad list published by Arsenal before that flight happens. At the time of recording this, I'm not sure if Christian Mosquera is going to be on that plane or in that squad. But that might well change depending on what happens this morning. So I will talk about that a little bit later on in the show. We're going to talk about Xavi Simons, who again has been linked with Arsenal as well, and got other bits and pieces to get stuck into. But we've got to start with Noni, who's been waiting a long, long time to get his announcement. Obviously, this is a transfer that has sparked so much debate online, in the pubs, amongst friends, about the transfer fee, about the fact he's coming from Chelsea, all that sort of stuff. But at the end of the day, he is now an Arsenal player. That was unveiled yesterday. 48 million initial fee, give or take around that mark anyway. Fee could go up to about 52 million with add-ons as well. Signing a 5-year contract, number 20. And as you can see, if you watch on YouTube, you see a picture of him, Andrea Bertra, Mikel Arteta, all looking very, very happy. And so they should. Noni Madueke, delighted to be an Arsenal player. He's come home. He said he's come home. His parents, he grew up, he's a North London boy. Parents, I think he was born in Barnet. So he's delighted to make the move. As I've said before, Mikel Arteta really, really wanted Noni Madueke. He has pushed for this move. So he's delighted that he's got him. He thinks he's going to bring an awful lot to Arsenal. And Andrea Bertra obviously happy that he's got the deal done. Looking at what Madueke had to say about his move, he said, "I'm somebody who goes with my gut feeling a lot of the time, and I feel like it's steered me in the right direction so far. I don't think it's going to be any different here. I think it's going to be a great success, and I'm really happy to be here. I've just been relaxed the whole time, waiting for the green light. And when it came, it all felt very real. I'm really happy, really proud. It's a great moment for me. It's great to go back home to be with my mum, be with my dad. I know my mum misses me in the house. It's already a great team with a clear identity. And I can't wait to bring my style to this team to try and help the boys as much as possible to take the next step." He also talked about his attributes, what he likes to do as a winger, how he likes to get the fullback one-on-one, can play on the right, can play on the left. So you can go over, you can see that first interview of Noni Madueke on the Arsenal website. Mikel says, "We're also happy to welcome Noni to the team. He's an exciting, powerful young player with his performances in numbers in recent seasons being of consistently high quality. He's one of the most talented wide forwards in the Premier League." At just 23, Noni already brings club and international football experience. He knows the Premier League very well. Having seen the quality of Noni's performances up close in recent seasons, we're really excited that he is joining us. Joins our group with familiar England teammates and other players. He knows he'll be made to feel right at home. His arrival will really improve the squad. We're thrilled to have him here. So Mikel Arteta very, very happy that Noni Madueke is an Arsenal player. And look, as I said, we've all spoken about the deal and all that sort of stuff, but he is now an Arsenal player. He needs everyone to get behind him to support him. I am excited by what he could bring to Arsenal. I've got my reservations about this deal. I've made that clear about the numbers involved in it and everything like that. But at the end of the day, when you look at his attributes, and when I speak to people who are, in my mind, far better equipped and trained than I am to really assess footballers and what they'll bring to a team, they speak very, very highly of Noni Madueke and what he can bring to this team and what he can add to the squad, his attributes that Arsenal just don't have in the squad as well. So I'm excited to see what's going to happen with him. I really am. And I'm looking forward, well, I was going to say looking forward to pre-season, but he's not going to be on the tour. He is staying to have a little bit of a holiday, and we'll link up with the squad once they get back from Asia. So I imagine the first time we'll probably see Noni Madueke will be the 2 Emirates games before the season starts. Just looking at what some of you guys have had to say about this move. Sam's got in touch on the Discord, said, although I was originally disappointed with the Madueke transfer, I must say I'm now rather excited about what he could bring to this squad. I feel as though he's got a lot of traits that our current players lack. That's kind of how I feel about it now, Sam. I have to say, the sort of longer it's gone on, the more the sort of shock has worn off that Arsenal are going for a player that, let's face it, none of us expected at the end of the season they were going to be going for. You know, and again, from speaking to people around it, from trying to find out exactly why Arsenal are after Madueke, you know, I'm excited by what he can bring, and hopefully, you know, he can really make a massive impact at Arsenal. Joe says, hi, Charles, love the show. Thank you very much, Joe. So just wanted to mention something about Noni. I think he's going to surprise everyone, and that this is a brilliant signing. One, depth. Two, if we didn't have Saka for any reason, he's a brilliant backup. And three, I wouldn't lose sleep over him starting games over Saka or sharing half the season. Don't get me wrong, I'm a massive Saka fan, but how much would you pay to make Saka 20% better? What if Noni pushed him that far? Can you imagine the potential? And again, that is what Arsenal have signed Noni Madueke to do. I've said it before, from everyone that I've spoken to about this to try and understand the deal, he is not coming in as backup. He is not viewed as backup. He is really viewed as someone who can really push Bukayo, can, you know, be real competition for him. Look, he's not going to push. He's not going to knock Bukayo Saka out of the team unless Saka's injured or has a real horrible dip of form, the type of which we've just never seen from Bukayo Saka. But if you've got someone really sort of behind you, pushing you, trying to get as many minutes in your position as you possibly can, it doesn't matter who you are. Hopefully that's going to raise your game. And Bukayo Saka's never really had that at Arsenal. And they want him to have that. And that's why Madueke has come in. But it's not just about the right-hand side. It's also about him playing on the left, which I think we will see quite a bit at times as well. So thank you very much for that, Joe. Kwabe says, hi, Charles. No one is saying he's a bad player, but the fact we're helping our rival Chelsea come out of their financial crisis by paying 65 million for Kai and now 52 million for Noni, it's more reason Arsenal fans are angry. See, I'm not just sure I really buy that. Look, I don't like the Chelsea thing. It's becoming tiresome. It is. But it's not about helping them out of their financial crisis. Chelsea had the biggest wiggle room of anyone in when it comes to PSR this season because of the way they somehow managed to getting around the rules. They don't really have a financial crisis. I know UEFA caught them cold a little bit, but you know, it's Chelsea. They're going to find a way. They'd find a way to easily get past that as well. There is no financial crisis at Chelsea. They've just won the Club World Cup. They've just got an extra 100 million for that. They've qualified for the Champions League. They've sold their women's team for ridiculous amounts of money to get around the PSR issues, so they don't have any sort of PSR issues at all. So it's not a case of helping Chelsea out their financial crisis. That's not what really bothers me at all. It's just purely the Chelsea league, which, as I said, becomes a bit tiresome. But it is what it is. And when you trade players like Chelsea do, then it is quite inevitable at some point that you're going to have to potentially cross paths with them in the transfer market because of the way their model operates, if you see what I mean. But thank you very much for everyone getting in touch on Noni Madueke. Okay, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see this picture I've just pulled up. This was a bit of a mistake by Arsenal, obviously, in doing the sort of drop into Getty Images where Arsenal put all their official club images for the Madueke sign-in. Unfortunately for them, one of the ones that they took for Christian Mosquera at the training ground sneaked into that batch unnoticed, but it didn't remain unnoticed for very, very, very long because Arsenal fans are Arsenal fans at the end of the day, and they will spot anything, no matter if it's a mistake or whatever. And obviously this was spotted, Christian Mosquera photo in and amongst the Noni Madueke photos. Okay, so on this, and obviously Christian Mosquera is going to be Arsenal's next signing, we know that. The squad is flying out today to Asia. We know that. Is Mosquera definitely going to be on that flight? From a conversation I had last night, not necessarily. I'm still told, and I can only go on what I'm told, at this exact moment of recording this, or certainly as the exact moment of last night when I had a conversation, that this deal is not 100% done yet, which seems mad because we're looking at a picture of him in an Arsenal training kit, having his photos taken, have his media done, and all that sort of stuff. But obviously, most of it is all done, but I think there's still a little tiny bit of paperwork that still needs to be finalised. And until that is done, he is not necessarily going to be on the plane because he can't be on the plane yet. So, but I was told last night that that could happen this morning. And if it does, then he will be on the plane. So he's going to be Arsenal's next signing, of course. But I don't think absolutely every bit of paperwork that needs to be done, all that sort of stuff, has yet been signed off and confirmed. And so if that remains the case today before they fly out. And I think they fly at about 7 p.m. this evening. Unless that is done today and there's plenty of time to do it, then he won't necessarily be on that flight. He'll probably fly over there eventually and join up with the squad, of course. But to actually leave today, we're not necessarily sure yet. But sorry, I keep tapping the table, and I did see someone mention in the comments yesterday, can you please stop tapping your table because it's annoying on the microphone. So I will try and stop doing that. I apologize. So yeah, we'll see. Like I said, there is a squad list being released by Arsenal at some point today before they fly out. So we'll see if Mosquera's name on that. Hopefully it is. Hopefully every little bit that needs to be wrapped up is wrapped up today. But obviously all the content's been done. Everything's been recorded ahead of that move being finalised. And once it is, then we'll get all the content put out. The club will announce it. We'll see the interview that we're looking the picture at right now, and he will be over on the plane. But he will be Arsenal's next signing. We know that. It's just a final couple of things, or one thing, I'm not sure the ins and outs of it, that still need to be done on Mosquera. But I mean, you don't get more proof than that he is definitely going to be an Arsenal player at some point very soon. Although I suppose there have been examples of things like this happening. There was one with Liverpool fairly recently. I can't remember who it was. It was quite a big transfer they were going to do, and he was over here. He did all the media duties and everything like that. He was pictured in the kit and all that, and it never actually happened. It was a foreign player a couple of years ago. I can't remember who it is now. I'm sure some of you probably remember and remind me in the comments below. So it has happened before, and I'm not saying that's going to happen with Mosquera. Obviously, he will be an Arsenal player. I'm sure of that. Hopefully, he'll be on the plane later. It doesn't look like Victor Gyökeres is going to be on that plane later, unfortunately, which will be a real shame unless something pretty dramatic happens today with those negotiations with Sporting that continue to rumble on. Hopefully he will get out there. Hopefully it'll be done pretty quickly. Seems to be you have to wait till Sunday for Victor Gyökeres developments. So every single time a Sunday rolls around, everything kicks into gear. So hopefully we haven't got too long to wait on developments on him. But as it stands, he's not going to be on the plane. And there's a little bit of mystery as to whether Mosquera will be on the plane a little bit later on today. But the rest of the squad will be on this plane. Can't wait. The first game is only, 4 days away now? I think it is, until the AC Milan game kicks off the pre-season tour for Arsenal. So the squad will be boarding the plane, flying off to Asia. Unfortunately, I'm not going to that one. I went to the Singapore tour last time, but I'm not going to it this time around. It was a brilliant trip last time. Really, really enjoyed it. So anyone who is going out there and watching, or anyone who's lives in Singapore, will be looking forward to the Arsenal arriving and seeing some games. I hope it all goes very, very well for you. A strong squad flying out. Obviously, even if Mosquera is not there, we will have the new signings, Norgard, Kepa, obviously the Zubimendi, the stars like Saka, Odegaard, Gabriel, Saliba. That's a really strong squad heading out there for this tour. AC Milan, Newcastle, and then obviously Spurs in Hong Kong before Arsenal fly it back home. So looking forward to seeing the game start. We can finally start talking about football again rather than just transfers from next week onwards. So looking forward to that. Just on Ethan Nwaneri, Sam Dean, obviously big friend of the show, Inside Arsenal Press Pass colleague Sam Dean at the Daily Telegraph, with his exclusive yesterday that Ethan has now signed that new 5-year contract at Arsenal. All agreed and done. Fantastic news. That is being wrapped up relatively quickly as well, which is great to see. Joining Miles with Skelly in signing a new contract. We had Gabriel earlier. Now all focus and attention will turn to Bukayo Saka and William Saliba, two more crucial ones for Arsenal to get done. But Ethan, fantastic news. We all wanted him to stay. Absolute jewel in the crown when it comes to players progressing through the academy in recent years. Youngest ever player in the Premier League, 9 goals in all comps last season. What can he bring this season? Are we going to see him more centrally like it appears we are going to do? Can he force his way into the team? Can he put real pressure on Martin Odegaard for that position? It's all up to him, really. It's up to Arteta to give him the minutes, but still fantastic news. There was definitely a little bit of concern, I would say, about Ethan. I think that sort of ebbed into the reaction to Noni Madueke as well. It's like, well, if Madueke is coming in, what does that mean for Ethan? Is it going to make it less likely that he's going to sign his new contract? Well, Madueke signed and Ethan still signed his new contract anyway. So brilliant news. Delighted. Ethan Nwaneri, 5-year deal. Xavi Simons has been linked. Fabrizio Romano yesterday reporting that Arsenal and Chelsea are sort of monitoring his situation at Leipzig. He's informed Leipzig that he does want to go this summer. He doesn't want to stay at the club. Premier League teams, other teams said to be looking at him, and Fabrizio naming Arsenal and Chelsea on that. I mean, really good player, Xavi Simons, player I really like. I think he's the kind of player that Arsenal miss. I have to say, though, and Aaron has got in touch and asked a question about this. Says, "Hey, Charles, pretty sure you've seen the Simons link. We all know Eze is an amazing player, Premier League proven. You're also a big fan of him. But if Palace keeps driving a hard bargain, if Simons is available for a reasonable fee, I would dearly welcome Simons signing as well. Simons is an amazing young player. We all saw that what he can do against top clubs a few years ago in the Europa League. He's more versatile than Eze. He was top scorer in the Dutch league when he was a teenager. Huge potential. Wouldn't be against him if we fail in Eze." Look, absolutely, I would not be against Xavi Simons signing for Arsenal. I would still, however, rather sign Eze if I had the choice of the two. I know Simons is younger. He'd have better sell-on value, all that sort of stuff. But still, Eze's Eze. Eze's proven in the Premier League. We know he can do it. He's at the exact stage in his career where I think he can go nuclear. I think he's already fantastic, but I think at 27, he could step up to a big team now and just go up to a whole nother level as well. And I absolutely want Eze. And when you say there, if Simons is available for a reasonable deal, this is RB Leipzig we're talking about, the same club who have been refusing to budge on Benjamin Sesko and have a very high valuation of Sesko. I can't see Simons being cheaper than Eze, I have to say. Eze, we know the figure. Whether Arsenal end up trying to get him for less than that because of the release clause, which is 68 million, we'll have to wait and see. I would be surprised, given his age, given Leipzig's history, especially with Arsenal, that he would be cheaper than Eze. So for me, still Eze number one. But look, if it ends up being Simons, I still think that would be fantastic because I think he would add an awful lot to what Arsenal need, and that extra sort of little bit of X factor, whatever you want to call it, in a sort of attacking player, a little bit more off the cuff type player who can play out wide if needs be, but certainly play central as well. Got one from Nick here on the Inside Arsenal Discord. Says, with Sporting dragging their heels, what are the odds we just walk away from Gyökeres and redirect our striker search elsewhere? There'll surely be a new shiny striker to grab our attention next summer or even later in the window. I don't know. I think we're so far down the road with Gyökeres that I just think if they weren't to sign him now, it's like, where do you go from here? Ekitike looks like he's off the market going to Liverpool. RB Leipzig are not going to budge by all accounts on Benjamin Sesko, and that fee does seem very, very high for someone like him. Arsenal been reluctant to go there already. I don't see why that would suddenly change now if Gyökeres doesn't happen. You're probably looking, I don't know, Ollie Watkins, I suppose, would become an option again. I just think they're so far down the line with Gyökeres now that they just have to get this deal done. I still think they will. I know it's dragging on. I know it's frustrating, but I think Sporting have accepted defeat. I think they know that he's going to go. They're just trying to get as much as they can, sort of guaranteed in these add-ons. I'm sure eventually a deal will be done between the two clubs because just so much has gone on already when it comes to this deal. So I'd be surprised, Nick. I have to say, right before I go, I think I've got one more. My mate Mark messaged me. I should have done this on the Madueke bit because he messaged me on WhatsApp. So I've remembered Mark this time. You said, question for the pod. Do you think Madueke's expectations are so low that even if he has an okay season, he would have surpassed expectation with the fans? Or do you think because of the price tag, unless he does something unreal, he'll be deemed a flop? Which is an interesting one because I think I link this into Havertz because I think Havertz has been great. And every time I say that, I see people in the comments go, who is this guy? How can you say Havertz is great? You're the reason that our great football club is in the mud, which is just frankly rubbish. But I always see those comments. And Havertz has been great, in my view. And yet people still respond with comments like that when I say it, just because he's 65 million and because it's Chelsea and because they didn't want that transfer in the first place. So I'm sure Madueke is going to have the same sort of thing as that. Even if he's great, there'll still be people that when he has one bad game or does one thing annoying, when he runs into blind alleys for 90 minutes, which I'm sure he will because that happens with wingers. Sometimes they have good games, sometimes they have frustrating games. And I'm sure he'll have frustrating games. It's just the nature of the type of player that he is. And when that happens, people will jump on him, call him a waste of money, call him a Chelsea reject, have a go at Arsenal for signing him, or have a go at Arteta for signing him. He's just going to have to deal with that. And I think more level-headed supporters are going to have to deal with that as well. I think they have with Kai Havertz. You go to the games, you go to the stadiums, everyone loves him, everyone sings his song. Online, it's a little bit different. I think it's probably going to be the same with Madueke. But time will tell on that one. Thank you for the message, Mark. Appreciate it, mate. Hope you are doing well. And that's it for today, everyone, for Saturday. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the start to your weekend. I'll be back tomorrow to do it all over again. Let's see what happens. Will we get a Mosquera announcement? between now and then. Will he be on the plane? We'll find out a little bit later on today. Take it easy, everyone. Speak to you soon. Bye-bye.